This is John Finari from the Sociology Department at Queens College. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to open a data file in SPSS and show how to explore the data in that file. The file extension for data files is .sav. To open a data file or a .sav file in SPSS, go to the File menu, select Open, select Data. This will bring you to a window that will let you search your computer for the file, find the folder on your computer where the file exists, choose the .sav file that you want to open. You can either double-click the file or select Open. Here we have SPSS with a file open. This is the GSS 2006, or the General Social Survey from 2006. There are two views in SPSS. Down here on the bottom left, you'll see two tabs, Data View and Variable View. In the Data View, variables will be listed across the top in the columns. And cases will be listed down the side in the rows. If we scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice that there are 4,510 cases in this data set. In the variable view, the variables are listed on the side in the rows, and information about the variables are listed across the top in the columns. If we scroll down, you'll notice that there are 88 variables in this file. To find the specific case in the data view, go to the Edit menu and select Go to Case. From here, you can enter any case number. This file is rather large. There's 4,510 cases. Maybe I want to find case number 999. Enter 999 and hit Go. It will bring me to case number 999 right here. If I wanted to search for another case, I can delete the 999 and enter maybe 3015 and hit Go. Here's case number 3015. This will work from either view, the data view or the variable view. I change this to 4010 and I'm in the variable view and I hit Go. It brings me back to the data view and shows me case 4010. To close this window, I can either hit the X in the upper right hand corner or cancel. To find a variable on this file, you can go to the Edit menu and select Go to Variable. I'll get a pull-down menu here and I can pick a variable such as child's and hit Go. Now if I'm in the data view, it will highlight the column where the variable child's is located. If I'm in the variable view and I ask it to find child's, hit Go, it will highlight the row where the variable is. To close this menu, I'm going to hit the X in the upper right hand window. Another useful tool in SPSS is creating a file information report. Before I do that, I want to make a note that most of the time it doesn't matter if you're in the variable view or the data view. From either view, to create a file information report, I'm going to go to File and look for the option that says Display Data File Information and choose the option Working File. this will open a second window. Now, it may not appear, you may have to find it in your Windows menu, but it will open this second window called an output window. And this output file uses the file extension .spv. We'll talk more about output files in another video. The information on this report is the same information that you would see in the variable view in SPSS, but just in a slightly different order. The cool thing about this is you can save this file and reopen it later, regardless of whether or not you have the data file open, or maybe you want to print this and have this available while working in SPSS. I'm going to shrink this window and bring me back to my main SPSS screen here. I'm going to show you another tool, and that's a tool used to look up information about variables, one variable at a time. To do that, you can go to Utilities and choose the very first option, Variables. When the Variables window opens up, you can select any variable in this list, one at a time, and as you select on the different variables, you'll see information about those variables, such as the name of the variable, the label, which values are missing values, and the level of measurement, as well as the category values for that variable. To create a codebook in SPSS, select Analyze, Reports, and Codebook. When the codebook window opens, you can select variables from the left side to include in your codebook on the right side of this window. To select variables, you can double-click on a variable. You can select the variable and use this arrow button, or you can drag the variable over. You can also drag consecutive groups of variables by holding down the Shift key on your keyboard and using the arrow down key on your keyboard. This allows me to select multiple consecutive variables, and then I can use the arrow button to move them over to the right side. Or if I wanted to select multiple variables that were not in consecutive order, I could use the Control button on my keyboard and then select whichever variables I wanted to select. Just holding down the Control button allows me to select multiple variables. And again, I can use this arrow button to move them to the right side. If you want, you can select all the variables by holding down the Shift button on your keyboard, scrolling all the way down to the bottom, and moving them to the right side. If you wanted to reset your selection and start over, you can choose the Reset button, and it clears the list of variables on the right side, and you can start over. I'm going to select all the variables by holding down the Shift button and the down arrow, and use the arrow button here, and then hit OK. It's going to reopen that output window. So that output window that we had before, where we had the file information report that we created, if you scroll down, after the file information report, it will now append the codebook to this file. And here's the codebook, and you'll see every variable that we selected, which is every variable in the data file, and information about each of those variables. So we'll see the label, the type of variable, the level of measurement, the valid values and missing values, as well as category values for qualitative variables. This is essentially the same as the information that's provided when looking up variables using the Utilities menu, but it gives you all the information in one place that you can keep open, or you can print and use at a later date while working in SPSS. I'm going to shrink that output window, show one last tool in SPSS, and that is a useful tool for changing the way the data looks in the data view. So we're going to look at this fourth variable. The variable is sex. And to learn a little more about this variable, we'll go to the variable view. I'm going to scroll, find the variable sex in the variable view. And in the variable view, you can, if you can't read everything in the boxes, you can make those boxes wider by just clicking and dragging them. So the variable sex, the label for sex is respondent sex. And if we want to know about what the values are, we can click on the values. There's a little button here that appears. You can click on that, and it will tell you that 1 equals male and 2 equals female. I'm going to close that window. I'm going to go back to our code book. Find sex in the code book. Lists these variables in alphabetical order. And here's the variable sex. And you'll see that the category values for sex are male and female, and the labels are 1 and 2. I'll go back to my data view, and if you see here in the column, the sex column, we have a lot of 2s and 1s. So we know that the 1s are males and the 2s are females. So for example, person number 10 here, case number 10, this person is a female because their sex is 2. Sometimes it's easier, instead of seeing numbers here that represent category values, to actually see the category values. And the way you do this is by choosing the Value Labels button. If I choose Value Labels, all those numbers in the data view change to the actual category values. I'm going to widen this column where it says sex now, and you can see person number 10, case number 10, is female instead of 2. If I choose the Value Labels button again, it goes back to numbers.